Sure. All right, we're good to go.
Hello, my friends. Katie Day with the Moving to Texas team down here in Houston, Texas, with another episode of the Real Advice podcast. I am excited to welcome this week's guest to the podcast. I've been super fortunate to get to know her better over the past year and thoroughly impressed by her marketing and social media skills. We also recently hosted a mastermind together on agent-to-agent referrals, and she kills it. She recently expanded her team to a new state, so I'm really excited to dig into that today as well. Please join me in welcoming my friend Shawna Martinez.
Hey, first of all, I'm so excited that you had me on. Like, I just felt like, oh my God, like I've made it. When Katie Day has asked me to be on her podcast, I was like, sign me up, check, take my money. Like, I didn't even care. So thank you so much for having me on. I'm super, super excited.
I'm excited for you to be here as well. So this is like we're just gonna be two excited people, just shooting the shit. So for those people that may not know who you are, who are you? Where are you from? Who is Shawna Martinez?
Oh my gosh! Wow, I feel like I'm in therapy. But I won't.
we're not going to go that deep today, but
I have a therapist for that. So I am Shawna Martinez. I am licensed here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas. We do the whole Metroplex, which is like, I don't know, 8 counties wide. Yesterday, I drove 2 hours to show a house on a lake. So we do travel for business. I did start growing a team. I came from the corporate world, so I immediately knew that if I wanted to get into real estate, I had to treat it like a business, which I think a lot of people don't do sometimes, which is probably why they're not successful and staying past 5 years or so. And then we have a lot of family and stuff that are in Arkansas. And so we're spending a lot of time up there. And with the Airbnb market just being amazing, we're starting to get really into that as well. So we decided it just made sense for us to expand our business into Arkansas. And then obviously, to get to Arkansas from Texas, you have to go through Oklahoma. So we have a lot of business coming up there too. So we went ahead and we're getting licensed in Oklahoma as well.
I have difficulty with geography. So when you said that at first, I was like, you have to go through Oklahoma okay.
You do.
So that's exciting. And so I guess just like the business need, you were like, we have a lot of people, we're referring out a lot of business. Like, let's go to Arkansas.
Well, I just felt like in Arkansas, they're really, I hate to say this, but in where we're doing business, which is mainly like the southwest corner of Arkansas, it's like nobody really understands where the business of real estate is going. In my opinion, I just felt like there was a huge lack of marketing. I look at things as opportunities. And we were spending more time there. We realized everybody's still doing it very old school. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if people start faxing offers over to each other there. It's like, you have no idea. So I knew that if we could do what we have done here in a market of, just in our MLS, we have 40,000 plus agents. Same. And we're the top 1% in less than 3 years. I thought if I just took and duplicated what I do here and do it in Arkansas in that specific area, I thought there's no way we can't be number one in that market. And so and that we can help more people, because I feel like they're not doing a disservice to the clients because they're not jumping on the video bandwagon as we speak and marketing things there. And so they still take pictures with their cell phone. And it's just crazy. And so I just felt there was a huge lack of customer service that people deserve to get. And so I felt like, let's take what we do here, let's do it there, and let's just hit it out of the park. And that's what we're doing.
That's awesome. And I feel like there are a few things like, so I don't know if you're friends with Marley Presswood on Instagram, but like I talked to her over the weekend because it was her birthday. I was like, happy birthday. What are you doing? And she's like, this person, it's an agent, wants to write an offer on my listing. I was like, oh, congratulations. Like, what a great birthday present. She's like, yeah, but he wants me to bring him a printed copy of a contract for him to write it. And I was like, well, can't he just give you the terms and you write it for him and then like send it to, she's like, no. He wants a paper copy. And that like you saying like, hey, they want, it to be faxed over to them or whatever. Like, and then I have friends in smaller markets that like are killing it because they've embraced video, they've embraced professional photos, and they're just like knocking it out of the park with,
if you're not embracing video, you are going to be left behind. There's no question. Like, there's a huge line drawn in the sand. It's the people who are jumping on board on the video train and the people who are not. And the people who are doing video, it's no surprise that they're the ones that are operating at such a high level.
So you mentioned earlier that you were in the corporate world prior to getting into real estate, right? And that 3 years, top 1%. Congratulations on that. So like, how'd you get into real estate?
So I'm actually a second generation realtor. And so my mom got her real estate license back, however long ago. And so she did it for a long time. And then she started a transaction to close business. And she did that till she passed away. And so I had actually signed up for my real estate license. I always hear people say like, well, you know, when they talk about getting their real estate license, oh, it may take me a while. Like, first of all, you ain't got nothing on me. It took me 6 years to get my real estate license from the time I signed up to the time I finished, just because I was a single mom. I had got started in the corporate world. I started working for a construction company as an accounting executive. And then, you know, like you just get used to the paycheck and, you know, like just being a mom and just life, like it just got put on the back burner.
Yeah.
And I actually took so long to do my classes that by the time I finished my classes, there was an extra class I had to start taking. Added it to the schedule. And so I was like, oh, dang. But, you know, it was always my goal to do real estate with my mom. We were going to open a business together, and she was going to do like the transaction side, and I was going to do, you know, the buying and selling. And unfortunately, she passed away before that was able to happen. And so that kind of kicked me into gear, because I was like, I'm going to make good on this and do this, because I told my mom I was going to do it. And so I did. And my mentor, who was my broker for a long time, he said he thought I'd be really good in real estate. And so it's funny because every time I do something and I get another accolade or whatever it is, he's like, who told you you'd be good in real estate? And, you know, so I have to give kudos to him, Joey, and because I'm sure he'll watch this, but and I just love what I do. So it's so much different than being in the corporate world. Like, I absolutely love this.
Yeah. What all did you do previously?
So I worked for a construction company and did accounting work, just completely by accident. I'm not a numbers person.
I was gonna say, just knowing your personality, I feel like that's not like, and even like you saying like when you and your mom were talking about things, like she's like, I'll do the transactions, you go out there and do, you know.
Yeah. So I was dying a slow death. Behind my computer all day. This is actually probably the most computer time I'm going to get today, is probably just doing this video with you, because I have a team. And so I'm just like, do this, you know, and so then I actually got hired to start running a company. Well, didn't start that way. Started doing accounting work for a company as a subcontractor. And then I worked my way up to the CFO position. And then once I got there, though, it was like, you know, it's like one of those jobs that you always think like once you hit it, you've made it.
Yeah.
And I was making, you know, hella bank. Like, you know, I was making 6 figures. They were, you know, I mean, people don't walk away from jobs like that at the age of 30. And so, but once you get to the top, like I just realized this wasn't really what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Perception is not always reality.
Right.
And so once I got there, I just realized, wait a second, like I'm working night and day for these people and not being appreciated, and you're just a number, and, you know, they'll replace you in a heartbeat. And it's like, and I'm, you know, sacrificing all this time with my family to do this, and for people who don't give two craps about me. So I was like, what if I took my work ethic that I have, that I know you can't teach, and I invested in myself? And that's what I did. I walked away and I started real estate. Started full-time real estate 3 years ago, 3.5. And it's just been an amazing, amazing thing that we did.
Well, and so how quickly after getting into things did you start your team? Was it immediate? Because like in all the time I've known you, I feel like you've had a team, but like I know we've only like known each other for a little while, like over the past year or so. Other than tagging each other on like Instagram, Peloton stuff, like I didn't know a ton about your business.
Yeah, no. So we have tried 3 times to build a team. So when I first got into real estate, my husband had already left his Microsoft job to run my back office, because I was doing pretty decent as a part-time agent. I was doing more transactions than most people do as a full-time agent, to be honest, if you look at the NARS numbers and stuff. And so my husband was like, hey, I'm bored with my job. So I said, hey, I need you to quit and run my back office. So he did. And that's how I was able to do it part-time for 3 years while still running a company. And so when I first left and we did it, and there was like so many growing pains with that, because he was used to being at home all day by himself. And then here I come in, you know, Miss Queen Bee, and I'm going to take over. And it was like, we had a lot of like, there was a lot of heated conversations. And now I think we've figured it out. But so we did not start off with a team. I didn't think I had enough business to be a team. And to be honest, I didn't even really want to be, I didn't want to be a team lead. Like I just, you know, like you always hear all these negative connotations about being on teams and things like that. And I was like, I don't want to be one of those people. But then it came to a point where I had to, because I had too much business and I needed somebody to come on and help. But it took us 3 times, and we finally, I think, cross our fingers, have gotten it right. Not to say that everybody on our team will stay on our team forever, because, you know, the reality of that is that's not going to happen. But I feel like we've got a better understanding of how to hire for our culture, which I didn't understand before, and those kinds of things. So, which we've all learned, you know, through coaching and things like that. But it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears for sure.
Well, and so people say that a lot, right? Like hire to your culture. You know, what would be some advice you could give to someone if they're listening to this and they're like, you know, I want to start a team, or I'm in the process of starting a team? Like, I feel like hiring to your culture or talking about culture is such like a pie in the sky type, phrase, right? Like what would be something like kind of tactical around that, like to help people in hiring?
So I heard this once. I don't even know who said it. I want to say I heard it from Jeff Mays or somebody, but don't quote me on that. But after I heard this, I thought that is my problem. So I have never actually recruited for our team. Everybody that's a part of my team is either a past client, somebody from my sphere, somebody who's been referred. I've never even ran an ad. I don't even know how to do an ad, to be honest. Like my husband will have to figure that out, but because that's his job. But so we were just hiring people. Everybody was coming to us, and they, we document everything on social media. So everybody's looking at me going, "Oh my God, she's killing it," and we were. But everybody wanted to be a part of our team, and I was like, "Yeah, they want to be a part of my team." And I was just hiring people left and right, and then it wasn't working out. And so I heard this piece of advice, and ever since I heard that, that's exactly kind of how we look at people before we hire them. But the best pieces of advice I've gotten that's helped us build the best team is with the mindset of, if you wouldn't have a drink with them, don't hire them to be on your team.
Yeah.
Like, because and I get that everybody has different ways of hiring people to their team, but for us, it's worked because if you wouldn't want to go out and be with these people outside of the business, why would you want them to be a part of your business? It's simple, but it seems to be working for us. And if you don't drink, I'm really sorry.
Yeah. But I mean, I think the sentiment still rings true, right? If you don't drink, like if you're not going to spend some time, break bread, go bowling, I don't know what.
Just like people that you would like to hang out with. Like if they're not people, and I get now you have the disc profile to look at and those kinds of things, and I have a whole other viewpoint on the disc profile. But I just think that if I genuinely need to like them and vice versa.
Yeah, for sure. So what does your team setup look like now? I know obviously you and Jesus, but then like what is the rest of the team?
We try to have more support staff than we do agents, because I feel like too many people start teams don't have anything to offer them. So our viewpoint on our team is their job is to go out and set appointments, write contracts, and close deals. That is their job. And everything else we take off their plate. So when we first started building a team, I didn't really believe in the value that we were giving our team. Like we built a team because I had too much business, and that's kind of the thing to do if you want to, be successful and have some work-life balance, which I'm still working on much better than I used to be. I take a nap almost every single day. People probably don't know that, but I do. I put it in my schedule, usually between 2 and 3 o'clock, and I take a nap, and my husband knows, and the bed is set up, and it's like a thing. It's like a whole thing. And, that's why we originally started a team, but I think a lot of people do it for the wrong reasons. And so for us, we've said, okay, if we're going to have a team, what is it that we're going to offer? Because I don't pay for online leads. I teach them how to build their business organically. All of my agents are in production. They're all less than a year licensed. So we literally hold their hand and show them from beginning to end how to do things. So to be able to do that, we have my husband, who's the CFO. And he takes care of all the training and onboarding of our agents. We have a full-time VA, virtual assistant. We have a full-time in-house assistant. I have a full-time showing assistant. We have a marketing coordinator. We have a listing coordinator. And then we have 5 agents on our team.
Okay.
And that's how we run it. Like their job is not to sit behind the computer and answer emails. It's like, all you have to do is get it in contract. And once it's in contract, the team takes it over. And your job is to go and find another client to work with, and show them property, get them into contract. Like that's their job. That's it. If it's not a money-making activity, they're not doing it. Like we do it for them.
Yeah. So talking a little bit about kind of the building the business organically, like what are some of the lead pillars that y'all work? Because I think that like a lot of times people, and especially people when they reach out to me, they're like, where can I buy more leads so I can start a team? And I'm like, you can scale what you're doing. You can do. So like, what are your lead pillars?
So you bring up a very valid point that everybody does and makes that mistake. We made that mistake. So we went through $100,000 like that the first year that I was doing full-time real estate. And it was scary. It was like, all this money's going out the door, and oh, wait a second, I'm not getting paid anymore. Like, like this isn't working. And so we actually ended up having to sell our house to be able to stay in the business. And so my first lead source was to get my business going and I was trying to go from a buyer's based business because I didn't have any listings. And if you list the last, then, listings bring you more business. So it's like, it's obviously smarter to try to be on the listing side. So I focus on expireds and for sale by owners. And so that's pretty much almost a free lead source. You just, pay for like the database to get the information. We use Espresso Agent. It's worth every penny. And so and then when I got tired of working expireds and for sale by owners, because that's a lot of work and not for the faint of heart, then we really started diving into like social media. Our team top 4 lead sources is agent to agent referrals. That's my top one. I made over 300 grand last year for agent to agent referrals, which is amazing. I have my biggest deal ever in contract from an agent to agent referral right now, 4.2 million. And then we do social media, we do past clients and Sphere. And that's our 4, and then open houses. Our team does a lot of open houses and get a lot of business from that too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and all of those all do take a lot of work, but it's like that sweat equity, not check equity.
Your return on investment is ridiculous on those.
Yeah. And, I would agree. I think that expires and FSBOs are great, but aren't for everyone.
Yeah.
They certainly weren't for me. I'm not persistent enough for.
I don't like having to go sell people. Like, I just am who I am. And so it's amazing that all I have to do is answer my phone and I get business. Like, I get 2 to 3 probably phone calls a day, either from agent to agent referrals or something. And it's like, almost to the point where I've had a conversation with you, like, how do you keep up on all these agent to agent referrals and making sure you're staying on top of it? And you've helped me kind of come up with the system, which is great. And that's what's great about, being friends with other agents that are killing it in their businesses, is you learn things from them as well. And then you can implement it in your own business. But it's so nice to be able to attract business versus having to go out and sell yourself. Like, that's just not kind of who I am.
Yeah, for sure. So let's dig in a little bit more on agent-agent referrals. Obviously, we recently hosted a mastermind on this with Texas agents from across the state. Someone even came in from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But what are some best practices, or what are some tips for people that if they're looking to increase the amount of agent-agent referrals that they're doing, what would be some things that you would advise them?
So I think it's really important to know where your clients are coming from. So obviously we're seeing a huge influx from California, New York. Those are the 2 big ones really for us. And to be honest, out of the 85 active buyers that our team is working right now, I would say probably half of those are from California relocating here. So I would say the first thing to do is figure out where these people are coming from, and then find these agents on social media and reach out and send them a video message. Ask them if you can, if you could fly to them and meet with them and go to their offices, even better. I think it's really important that you build relationships with agents in other markets, because I'm sure everybody's seen it. You're on these, pages where people put, hey, I'm looking for an agent in such and such. And then you see all the cheerleaders. And what's really funny is when somebody will post somebody's name and they're not even in that market. It's like, I mean, obviously you haven't sent a referral to them because you don't know, they don't work the Dallas market. They're in Abilene or, whatever it is. And so I think it's really important just building those relationships with other agents in other markets and doing a lot of video on why it's important. Like, what's going on in Texas? Why are people flooding here? Even us, we're trying to step up on our video game about different areas, because most of these people are buying here sight unseen. Yeah. And so they need to have as much information as possible as far as neighborhoods and why it's great to buy there and home price values and those kinds of things. And I think if you do that and you can target to California or wherever your influx of people are coming in from, I think that would be a great start.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things that after our conversation that I'm trying to do a better job of is I used to just say like, oh, it's an agent to agent referral, but now on my personal spreadsheet, like not in our CRM or in Sisu, like I have like, where did it come from? So did it come from my brokerage? Did it come from Lab Coats? Did it come from Tom Ferry? Yeah. And where did they contact me? So was it Instagram? Was it a call? Was it a DM? Mm-hmm. Because, I think we'll see how it goes for the year. I'm not even a month in. I'm 10 days into the new year of this new system, but I'm like, I want to be able to know like where most agents are contacting me from, so that then like, okay, maybe I once a month put out something on Instagram, or maybe I do this, or maybe I send out a text campaign, or I don't know what it's going to look like, but I'm like, if I have the data, I'll be able to parse it somehow, as the year goes on.
That way you're not spinning your wheels doing something that maybe is not where your business is coming from. My last coach, and I changed coaches. I'm on my 4th coach now in 3.5 years. I think it's important to get new perspective, but also we've leveled up into Teams Plus. Yeah. So I had to change coaches. But my last coach, he said, they say you need to have like 6 or 7 different lead pillars. And I had like 13. And he was like, hey, like, can we like look at this and see like how much business are you actually getting from these lead pillars? And, I just told you my top 4 or 5. And he said, let's just really hone in on those and like go all in on those, and let's give up the other stuff. And I will say it's made my life so much easier, and my business continues to keep growing at like an amazing pace.
Yeah. I mean, we're kind of the same way, right? Like we have the core, right? And it's pretty much the same, as yours are. But then it's like, yeah, we do have lots of other random ones. We actually just, funny enough, added TikTok in as a lead source in our CRM, because one of our agents had someone DM her on TikTok, and they're like writing offers now. Like,
that's
so
awesome.
we've been joking around with her that she's now an influencer. So
that's awesome. We have an agent on our team who moved here. I met her on vacation actually in Mexico during COVID. And we were sitting next to her and I think we started talking about the drink she had or something. And then, of course it starts with, well, where are you from? And what do you do? And started telling her and she's like, oh, actually we've talked about maybe moving to Texas. People say that kind of stuff all the time. You're like, yeah.
Oh yeah. Everyone does.
I gave her my number and 2 weeks later she called me and said, hey, I don't know if you remember me. I was like, I absolutely remember you. She's like, we're coming to Texas into the Dallas area. Want to look at homes. And they ended up buying a house from us. And now she's an agent on my team. And so, I mean, it's crazy how like the world just kind of, full circle. But so what I told her to do is I said, listen, you just made the relocation from California, which a lot of people are doing. I said, you need to be doing a whole video series on what it's like to move from California to Texas. And she started doing that and she picked up over $1 million buyer like that.
I mean, crazy. Yeah. No, I'm like, I wish, I moved here 10 years ago and I also wasn't in real estate, but I'm like, I wish that I had just moved here to be able to do that exact same thing, because it's like the amount of people that are researching that, like, what is it like? What did you not realize? There's just so many different topics that you can do that, for the amount of influx of people coming in from all over, but especially California is so significant.
Yeah. So she's doing great that way. I think that you can always use your own personal experiences for something, like that's why I think just being organic, obviously gives you more organic business, but I think just attracting who you want to work with always also helps too, because you go to work and you do it with people you like.
Yeah. No, that's the biggest thing with video. The more video we do, I feel like our client avatar continues to just be that much better.
And you're so great at it too. Like I open up my Instagram in the morning and it's like Katie Day's there and I'm listening to her and I'm like, and your voice is so soothing. And
it's really not. You've met me in real life. It's really not. It's just this mic is like, I could be like Fran Drescher over here and it would sound like silky smooth. So just buy an expensive microphone and it does it for you.
Sounds of Katie Day.
Yeah, like I'm over here like smoker cough hacking and it's just like
I doubt that, but yeah.
It's just giving you the smooth sounds. So interesting that you take a nap every day. I feel like that's something that like most people would like, be sneaky about. I love that you're just like, no, I totally take a nap every day. What time of day do you feel like you're most productive?
In the mornings for sure.
Yeah.
So I try to keep all of my like needing to be alert and like, I do most of my work. So I usually work like 4 hours a day, maybe. And I only do Monday through Thursday. I don't work Fridays. Fridays we spend it with our 4-year-old Silas. And then on the weekends, I try to be available for my kids. Now, I did drive 2 hours yesterday to go show a property, but my husband and my son went with me. So, it's kind of like a little family outing.
Road trip.
Road trip. Yeah, that's how we treated it. And so it was fun and it was great to get out and kind of out of the Metroplex a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I had no problem saying I take a nap. I think it's important that people do what makes them happy. And for me, like I'm able to work it in my schedule and I think that's great. But I usually try to do appointments later in the afternoon because I can talk all day long, but my productive time is in the morning. So
Yeah. Now where you're at in your career, obviously you left corporate America, all that. If you weren't a real estate agent today, what do you think you'd be doing?
Oh my gosh. In another life, I would be a homicide investigator. No question.
There was no hesitation in that. No. Like there wasn't like, let me think. No. That's interesting. Had you previously been interested in like criminal justice or doing something like that?
So you can blame it on the first 48 when that first came out. Like I started watching it, I was like, it's like super interested and hooked. Yeah. And I went to college and I studied criminal justice. Because I figured if I'm going to school, like I might as well, if I'm spending the money, I might as well do something I want to do and it's interesting. Yeah. So I did study criminal justice. And then I did nothing in that, I do nothing with criminal justice. But I do listen to murder podcasts when I go to sleep at night, which is, I just find it very interesting. I know. Well, he listens to Joe Rogan. So like we're both on
you guys both are just like, okay.
Yeah. So we're both just listening to something. We don't even realize the other one is there. But yeah. Sometimes I do like, there's like a murder podcast going on. I listen to like 2 or 3 different ones and I will not be able to sleep because I'm like, what's going on? Like who murdered her? Like who did this? Or I'll have nightmares. You would think that would be enough for me to kind of give it up.
Doing it,
but no.
It's soothing to put you to sleep.
I find it better than calm. I can't help it.
I don't even really know what to say to that. Okay.
I know it's strange. I get that it's strange, but I can't help it.
Teach their own. Teach their own. Just remind me, like, to not, get stuck in like a dark elevator with you or something. Like, I don't know, dark alley.
People. I would solve murders.
You'd solve them. Okay.
Solve them. I don't do them.
That makes me feel a little bit safer. But just the, listening to soothing sounds of murder to go to bed concerns me. What would be like one piece of advice? So like we talked a little about teams and like advice for people starting out on a team. What would be something that you would give as far as like someone just starting out in their career, right? Because I think that like not everyone wants to start a team. Most people obviously start out as an individual agent. So like what advice do you wish you would have had,
oh gosh,
a couple years ago when you jumped in?
That's a great question. And I'm not saying this like I'm not plugging anything. I'm just saying like from experience, like I will say that the best thing that anybody could do is hiring a coach, because if you hire a coach, then, because the problem is so many people are coming into our business because it looks easy and the money and all kinds of stuff. That's a whole other conversation, but you don't know what you don't know. So either you need to join a team where you get coaching. And I don't mean like where they say they mentor you. I'm talking like somebody who actually coaches you and says, this is how I did my business. I'm opening it up to you. This is how you get from point A to point B, going over your goals, really diving in how you're going to get those numbers and hit those goals, I think is really important. But if you don't want to be on a team, then I would say hire a coach, because people who have a coach don't have to worry about how to get from point A to point B, because they have a coach that tells them, gives them the roadmap. It's expensive, but you know what? You get what you pay for. And you can either be very successful in this business and have the right people in your corner, or you can try to struggle on your own and go through tons of money. And trust me, as soon as you get your license, your number and email goes out to every single person trying to sell everything. And I'm telling you right now, if anybody's trying to sell you something to make your business easier, you need to be questioning that, because just blood, sweat, and tears, there's just no substitute for that. But you need to know how to actually channel your energy and what do you need to be spending your time on.
Yeah.
And I feel like people who aren't in coaching don't know that, and they end up wasting a lot of time and money. And I think that's a lot of the reason why people end up getting out in less than 5 years is they're just spinning their wheels. And I think you don't have that problem when you have a coach.
Well, and so a lot of people, would say that, and a lot of people contact me, they're like, coaching just seems so expensive.
And it is, but if you do what you're supposed to do and you get from your coaching what you're supposed to, it doesn't matter. Like, my coach can take my money all day. Like, I get so many agent-to-agent referrals from our coaching network that it more than pays for my coaching for the rest of my life. Like, and now my team gets coached. And so that's what I'm saying is you need to find a team. That's really the best way. If you want your biggest bang for your buck, join a team where they have a professional coach. I don't mean like the team lead coaches you. It's completely different. Have somebody that actually coaches you and helps you build your business. Because then you also get deals from your team lead. So you're not having, you know what I mean? Like, you're not having to pay for any of this stuff. Yeah, you have to give up a portion of your commission, but what better way to learn from somebody who's already doing it in the top of their business? Like,
yeah, for sure. And we have that where like the agents meet, with, Ryan on a weekly basis. Right. But then they also on a monthly basis meet with, our business coach, to go through things on kind of a bigger picture scale.
Yeah, I think it's super important. And I think that it's just like, but you have to be careful about the coaches that you choose, because it's just like with real estate, everybody's starting a team, and most of these people don't need to be starting a team. It's just the same thing with coaching. It's like if somebody's done 2 deals, they think now they need to be a coach. I get asked to be a coach all the time, and I tell them the same thing. I have a coach. I need a coach. I am not a coach. Like, I'm just not anywhere near, that's not even in my wheelhouse as far as like thoughts, like I have a coach for everything. Like, I need somebody to keep me in line. I can't do that for somebody else, Yeah.
I feel like you would be a good coach. I feel like you would be very like tell it how it is.
Oh, for sure.
No BS.
But then I wonder, like, and unlike other people, I wonder like, what could I actually bring for people? Like, because I'm very big on what value can I bring. And if I don't feel like I have enough value, like, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. No, I think that's huge. I think that coaching has made a significant impact on my life. I've worked with a couple different companies, and I think that it's definitely shortened the learning curve too, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I could have figured it out, like, created and imploded and whatever my team, but it's like, it's helped me to, make the most of the right hires, and really kind of speed things along. So,
time is money.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. 100%. All right. I've got one last question for you. It tends to stump people, so I'll give you as much time as you need on it. But If it were your last meal on earth, what would you be eating?
Oh my God. I would have a steak with a baked potato fully loaded and a frozen margarita with salt.
You kind of took a right turn there with the margarita, but I mean, I get it, right?
Yeah.
What kind of cut of steak is your favorite steak?
Filet all the way.
Okay.
Always.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Did you get a filet when we went to that steakhouse?
I did. I always get a filet.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. All right. That's cool. I'm also a steak fan, so
Mhm.
I'm always down for a good steak.
Yeah, me too.
Cool. Well, Shawna, I really appreciate you and your time today and all of the knowledge that you dropped as far as video, teams, coaching, building your business organically. Very much appreciated. And I can't wait to see you in a few weeks here. And I wish you much continued success.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
I'll talk to you later.
Bye.